What's the first word that comes to mind when you hear responsible AI?
Yeah, so I think about AI trust. Actually, for me, trust is, AI, whether it's responsible or not, that's like kind of it's its own business. But what we need to think about, how do we make sure it works, and that we demonstrate this visibly with evidence, so people can trust it and use it, and companies adopt it, and so on. So it's for me, it's all kind of the umbrella term is always around trust.
Perfect. If you could give every company one rule for using AI responsibly, what would that be?
So for using AI responsibly, so it's very evident that by now, and that's a lot of the discussions here, were that a lot of the what needs to be done, like what risks, what processes, like how to set it up, this is already exists. But the one rule that's is very relevant right now is the how. It's like, how do you actually do AI governance? Like, what does this mean? Like, what controls, what metrics, how do you implement this like deeply in the organization? So that's like not forgetting this bit, like really thinking about how do you translate the high level initial first steps of defining risks, and how do you map this, like thinking about how to go to the next level.
Brilliant. And then the last question, if you could let me start again. We ride.
Rewrite. That's
if
it.
if you could rewrite the EU AI Act with one additional change, what would that be?
um I would rewrite I would not do it the way it was done, in the sense that it was done first from the legal high level point of view, which is good to do. You need to have that. But there was like a key ingredient, which is the whole translation of what does this actually means for practitioners, because ultimately you have rules about general purpose models, and you're defining things like legal things, but you don't define like should these vendors do to demonstrate compliance, like all the work around code of practice, how do you do security safety evaluations, how do you set up risk frameworks. So I would have really not rewritten, but I would have just added this in very early on, because that caused a lot of confusion, and people are just unsure what to do about it. So that's I would just release it together as one package, as opposed to doing it into separate pieces.